let's get ready to hop into it, shall we? Durin Flamebeard. Where exactly did we leave off here? We'd just gotten our rune out of Shoals, of course. Finished exploring most of the regular dungeon, just one floor left. And then we were looking at potentially making our way over to Snake. Of course, our big issue there, I believe, is that we don't have poison resistance. We do if we swap over to our other weapon here. In fact, we might be able to get away with that. Sure, we'll lose some magic. Willpower, though, we have kind of doubly covered from this fantastic ring that we managed to find ourselves discovering. And so, if we just swap over there, we should be okay. The main thing I have to remember is not to auto-attack too much with the rage ego on this Lagitang. Which, I guess, in that regard, we can take a look through our spells here. Vile Clutch getting very close to castable, and this will be huge. Snakes are already slower than us. I guess not snakes, but more so the Naga are already slower than us. So with the help of something like Vile Clutch, we should be able to keep the distance as best we can here. Hey Zuo, how's it going? Fire Mage Dwarf, Flame Crafting, indeed. Yeah, it's pretty sweet to be in plate armor, and we're just about at the point of casting our level 5 spells. Not too shabby if I do say so myself, but we'll have to see if we're able to A, keep ourselves in one piece, and B, potentially get a bit more work there. Interesting. Interdimensional caravan, still around here. Do I have any money though? I have 7 gold pieces. So unfortunately, we're not exactly going to be doing much in the way of shopping here, I had to guess. But let's pop around the corner. Ooh, so we get slowed here. I should be okay to keep taking a few steps here or there, and you know what, a few kids are going to line up oh so nicely. Let's take advantage of that. We'll even use our Lagitang. We do end up getting enraged, so not the nicest of outcomes. Fortunately, even when we're slowed after Berserk, because the Lagitang has the speed brand on it, still attacking at 0.7 delay. So not too shabby, and in fact, potentially lends itself a little bit to getting a little bit loosey-goosey with our auto-attacking here. Of course, all that goes out the window as soon as we have to actually run away from a fight, and I will regret making such bold claims regarding our security here, but that's fine. And just wait that out. The main issue is that we don't actually have that much going for us in the way of offensive spells. At this stage in the game, you probably want to be using something with a bit more firepower. Again, Vile Clutch, we can get it a little bit lower here. In fact, we can see Necromancy, we've set our cap to 8. So that will probably bring it down to at least sub 10%. Exactly, yeah, the Raging Mage, the little known expert gamer strategy of constantly enraging yourself on a casting character. Who knew? There we go. That was a good little test period of seeing how much we're able to rage and then kind of deal with the consequences of our decisions. And overall, not too bad there. Still a bit more concerned in a case like this where we have a lot of unexplored area right next to us, and so I just want to be a little bit cautious that we're not raging right before coming across a whole group of new friends. And Naga Warrior, I will just walk away from you for now here. If we can get fully healed up, that would be lovely. because some vile clutch can kind of come in handy, come in clutch as it were here as well, and that's fantastic. Okie dokie. So far, our initial delve into Snake here, not looking too horrible. Glad that we did switch over to the resist poison. Not sure how much more we could really prep ourselves. We could probably feeling okay to keep heading in here. Couldn't decide whether to say hey or hello there. Hey Roga, how's it going? Hope the cosplay tournaments are going well. And hello Danny Carnage. I was waiting a second to make sure everyone was in here, but hello. Thank you so much for the raid. I do appreciate it. I did see that there were some viewers in the category of DCSS, so was that you over there, or what were you playing on stream? How was your stream in general? Or for you folks coming in here, if you haven't watched before, my name's Torinski. Usually just do DCSS content once a week, big Sundays. And at the moment here, we're trying to get through with some polytheist victories, get a win with every deed in the game. We're a bit along the road here, but still have some runway left to explore, of course. Oof. And the rage does come in to bite us in the rear. We can get a source of poison resistance that is not tied to our weapon, and more specifically, I would really like to get a ring that gives us poison resistance, because we currently have a bit of leeway there. We're using this flight ring. In fact, I should take that off right now, seeing as how it's essentially doing nothing for us. At the very least, a bit more fire protection does, I guess, in some way help out with the salamanders here. We probably don't need triple fire resistance for the number of salamanders that we're likely to find, but still better than nothing else here. Esoteric, it is definitely a spicy dwarf, to say the least. I mean, I'm very happy that we're following Sif Muna here, because throughout this run, we've had to many a time delve into Divine Exegesis and use it to cast Death Door, and just barely scrape by the skin of our teeth. So we'll see if we end up kind of resorting to similar tactics here today, or if maybe we can kind of settle into a bit better of a state. I don't like our current setup too much. We're using this Lagitang of speed with a rage ego on it, and definitely having its ups and downs, but fortunately staying in one piece, which I guess is all we can really ask for at the end of the day. But you just finished your DCSS stream and aiming for a great player, Danny. Nice. You locked in your Armator win and moved on to Knoll. Ooh, that's exciting. Knolls are one of my favorite species to play. There's something pretty sweet about being able to fully adapt to anything the dungeon throws at you. Of course, you can have some difficulties when you're in the mid-game, I guess early mid-game, and you're trying to sort out exactly what to use. But once you get over the hump, then everything is at your disposal. The world is your playpen, and that's always a lot of fun. Do you have any standout favorites so far from your time going through for Great Player? Okie dokie. Well, we've hit our caps. We probably should train a little bit more of either necromancy or earth magic. I'm guessing our vile clutch is still a little bit behind the 8 ball in regards to being fully secure in our ability to cast it. Is there anything else? I mean, at the very least, let's just start necromancy. It'll be pretty fast to get up, and largely we just wanted to select a skill so we can take a peek at our book here and what else we may want to move towards. I mean, something like animate armor actually works pretty well on the dwarven characters who are going to be in heavy armor the entire time, so the buddy we summon gets a pretty solid punch. Of course, irradiate is almost necessary on any caster. Even if not strictly necessary, it's still just beautiful, fantastic, wonderful, all the positive expletives we can throw on it here. And in fact, we can add a superlative to that, because I think it's one of the more generically useful spells across the board. Being able to output really heavy damage in an area around you that is, by and large, unresistible. Pretty hard to look down upon. So I guess if we're going that route, it would be alchemy or conjurations that we want to get a little bit of training into. We don't have the best aptitudes in alchemy, but even at a -2, bringing it up to 4 should happen pretty dang quickly at this stage in the game. So let's set that for now. And we'll play it by ear as we get a little bit further along and maybe sort out what exactly it is that we're doing here in the dungeon. You really enjoyed Armator, got good luck with items, and that combined with the Rampage regen led to some super fun YOLO playstyle. It is nice when the stars align to that extent and you're able to just completely ball out of control. Pun slightly intended, of course. But I think Armator is one that I need to fool around a little bit more with. It came out while I was doing my Great Player series, and so I believe we played it, probably took us 3 runs or so to get a victory there. But I would like to go back. There's something uniquely satisfying about the ability to just ping pong between enemies. Not always the safest or smartest move to go ahead with, but satisfying nonetheless when you really get that rampage a-rolling. Aha, well, you, my friend, definitely would like to take care of before you surround me with too many new friends. Ooh, whoopsie daisies. Speaking of, accidentally rampage or rage ourselves to a bit of a corner there. That's fine. Excuse me, my orc friend? What the heck are you doing here? Hey Eric, how's it going? Thanks for the good luck. We almost definitely will need it, but hey, we'll see what the cards have in store for us today, shall we? And not too shabby. We'll just keep kind of playing our corners here, playing safe as much as possible. What I would like to do is a bit of shuffling on our abilities here. Foxfire, I guess it's in our quick cast, so maybe it's about time that we take that off of one of our quick access keys here, and that will just add Bjornir's File Clutch to the macros that we've set up. And that should definitely help out both in keeping us safe as we're able to run away from constricted enemies, as well as adding a bit more damage so we're not overly reliant on the weapon that is very likely to put us in a fit of rage at the most inopportune time. But hey, we'll have to see. No promises one way or another. Maybe it will just be a nice easy dip, dodge, and dive through the rest of Snake here. Wouldn't that be lovely? A bit of a change of pace, because I feel like we're usually fighting for our lives. At least we were previously on this character specifically. But just reach out and grab you, rinse, repeat, all that good stuff. And definitely gets the job done. We can see that we burn through our magic pretty fast. Fortunately, it's not the end of the world. We can always channel magic through Sif Muna if we really have to. And other than that, we at least have a decent reliance on our physical capabilities here. We can oftentimes rely on that to a certain extent. Of course, this was kind of a perfect example, case in point, of where it's not so great. Roka coming around the corner as we're slowed from our previous rage session. But hey, we'll just keep on keeping on. Hello, Azul. I feel like you're fire resistant. Is this true? You're not. You're just red. I definitely get those confused decently often. So if that's the case, then I feel a little bit better with sticking in this and sorting it out to the end. Not a very good snake talisman, my friend. I'm curious if these egos affect Azul themselves. I've never bothered to check, but I should have taken a peek to see if they had the negative resistance. And the lack of willpower would have made it an interesting encounter if it was a bit of a closer fight, because we very much could have resorted to oopsie daisies as I get distracted here. But resorted to like using our wands or something along those lines in order to get through in one piece. Reach out and grab you, my friend. In fact, there we go. Now that your other orc brethren are no longer able to, at the very least, shoot us as we make our escape. Oof, that's a lot of smites though, my friend. Well, here's where the slow could very easily screw us over. Fortunately, though, we do get out of dodge, and this is a pretty opportune spot to try and face off against Roka. At the very least, we can escape upstairs and just bring one of them up with us. Potentially what we can do before we dive back in here. Let's take a peek. We have 47 damage on your flail. It's mainly the 198 health that's the problem. I guess we do have a phantom mirror. Regardless of the validity of it, I do have a bit of a sense of overconfidence here, if nothing else. So let's jump in and see how things are looking, shall we? We can just keep reaching out and grabbing you. It does seem like Roka is unfortunately a little bit smarter than I would like and is not gonna walk into my blast motes, is what I was gonna say, but never mind. Proving me the fool yet again. I mean, I should probably just retreat here. We're not in the most opportune setup. So if we just heal up, and hopefully this time around Roka is hanging out right by the stairs. In fact, do I even want to reach out and grab all of y'all? Maybe I'd rather set ourselves up here, take care of most of those kids, jump in with a phantom mirror, and then what else can we do to potentially make our life easier? We can constrict you, and then do we start swinging? I don't need poison resistance, I guess, so we can actually swap over to our Bardiche, and that way we're not risking rage at every given opportunity, because we did want to, you know, keep our options available there, make sure we could chug potions, use our vocables, all that good stuff. Hey Rotail, how's it going? Hope you've been doing all right here. Hope the birds are well, of course. Are the birds' Twitters still popping off? It's been a while since we chat about that, but I wouldn't be surprised. People do love their cute animals for sure. Also, thank you so much for the subscription, my friend. Thank you for the Prime. 8 months, hey? Holy moly, how time flies. But I do definitely appreciate it. Never any pressure, of course, for anyone out there. But I do get a bit happy when I see number go up. As is the case for most humans, I feel. There's something pretty intrinsically satisfying about the... Ooh. As I get completely distracted from my train of thought here. It's almost 2K followers. Hell yeah. Hey, you know what the people want. You gotta give them what they want. But okie dokie. For you, Nicola, what do we wish to do? I mean, if I just silence you and jump in, we probably beat you in a arms race here. Unfortunately, you're not as great with electricity as you should be for somebody that wields it. So we'll play it safe, hit them a few times, and then retreat up And at the end of the day, I guess the rage, in some senses, just helps us out in our pursuit to murder them indiscriminately. So that's fantastic. I got a little bit worried about the anaconda kind of jumping out of the woodwork there, but nothing we can't handle. Ooh, and we do get a lovely pair of gloves. Add some cold resistance into the mix. Our resistances are looking pretty dang solid across the board now, so cannot complain too much about that. Of course, the +4 enchantment also giving us a pretty decent addition to our overall defenses here. So let's see if we can't leverage that into some modicum of success as we keep on keeping on here, shall we? If we were any later in the game, I think I would pull out every single stop I could possibly think of to prevent ourselves from using this latch tank any further. But I am being led into a mistaken sense of confidence. The hubris rises in my ability to functionally use a Rage Ego. It feels like it's helping. Whether or not that is realistically the case is very likely another question altogether, but one that we don't necessarily need to answer here today. If it works, it works. And we'll worry about near-death experiences as we go along here, shall we? Okie dokie. Not too shabby. I probably should be using Vile Clutch a little bit more heavily here, just to poke down enemies before they get a chance to approach us too much. It is really solid damage at the end of the day, so that is fantastic. Let's pop up and fully regenerate our magic before we worry about facing off against these kiddos. Oops, as I accidentally throw my Vile Clutch off into the emptiness around us. Hello, Agnes. You could be a little bit of a problem here, especially a Venom-branded Lagitang, even with our poison resistance, is going to stack up against us here. The fortunate thing is if we can hit with Vile Clutch, they're constricted. All that evasion that they've trained their entire lives to hone into a peak point of perfection here will mean absolutely nothing, which we love to see. But before we get there here, we do need to deal with the Salamandus. So let's take these kiddos upstairs. And then, although there's some temptation to just throw our body against the wall until something breaks, probably in our best interest to back off a little bit there. Well, I will still Vile Clutch. It's pretty solid damage. Can Flame Wave to also stack up on top of that. Fantastic. That would have been a nice place if we already had Irradiate. Then that would have definitely been a little bit... I was going to say a little bit simpler, but I guess at the end of the day, it was pretty simple. So I guess even more simple than it was might be the more accurate representation of our scenario here. You just bought Space Marine 2. It's kind of amazing. I've quite a few screenshots. I think I've seen a couple of video clips. I mean, it looks amazing. Looks really cool. Warhammer is something I wish I had gone more into growing up. I had a cousin that was very much into painting figurines, and I loved the process of doing so. It definitely falls into the category of things that I would enjoy doing even into my adulthood. I mean, I got into Magic pretty late, and I've, spent way more money than I should collecting there, so it wouldn't be that much of a step to add Warhammer into the mix. But the lore is really fun. What little bit I do know of, I really enjoy. Especially the orcs in Warhammer follow a line of thinking that I've always appreciated. There are a couple of book series that I've seen kind of similar thematic elements in. For anyone who isn't aware, orcs paint their weapons, their vehicles, they paint them different colors and specific colors. I think it's like red for weapons, might be red for weapons or vehicles, but the thought is that they believe that painting something red makes it faster. Painting something blue makes it stronger. I'm making up some of the assignments here, but the gist of this is all correct from my understanding. And then the way that it's incorporated into the world is that because they believe so hard that this is the case, it ends up being true. So them painting something certain colors does in fact make it stronger, faster, better. And I really enjoy that. There's a book series that I read as a teenager that it's like a high fantasy world, all sorts of shenanigans going on. And there's a division of knights called the Lay Not, and they are anti-magic knights. And the thing is, they don't even believe that magic exists. It very much does. Fundamentally so, or very tangibly so throughout the universe. But because they believe so hard that magic doesn't exist, they actually exude a kind of anti-magic field around themselves. And there's something that just tickled my brain pink with that. I really liked the framing of it.